Welcome back, folks, to Fishing Planet. Today, we're going to talk about how to set your pole up correctly after the new pole mechanics changes to Fishing Planet. Now, for the sake of this video, we're going to use the Jig Winner 810, a very commonly used pole, or if you're metric, it's a 270. That won't matter entirely a whole lot to making your pole. But first, before we get into making a setup from blank, if you're a person like me that has had used setup like this before the mechanics change, if you're watching because of that, you can still use this setup. Just take your drag down one. If you don't want to change out your whole entire setup, just turning down your drag one will help it out. As you can see, you're not hurting the pole at all, and you can still use your old setups if that's what you wish to do. Now, if you are new or you want to learn how to make new setups, the first thing you must do is change your tackle load indicator to Pro. This will be in your settings. Make sure you have it set there so you can get them 3 bars on the right-hand side. The reason behind that is so you can see how much stress each individual component of your pole is taking. Now, with that being said, we're actually going to go and I'm going to make a rod right with you. And again, we're going to use a Jig Winner as an example. It is one of the most commonly used poles. So we're going to go down to spinning rods. We're going to go down to the Jig Winner 810. For your metric friends, it'll be 270. It won't really matter. You can use this for any pole type. So as you can see, we'll go to our inventory. It is here now. The big thing when you're setting up a pole is making sure you're getting the correct weights on your setup. For example, when you're setting up your pole, always use the max line weight as what you're trying to base level everything off of. So 13 is our line weight, 13 pounds. And if you're metric, it doesn't matter. So at 13 pounds here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go find a line that is right around 13 pounds. As close as we can possibly get. So we're going to go down to line. I use braid because it casts farther. The line doesn't really make a whole entire heck of a lot difference. So as you can see here, here is 13-pound line. We're going to actually go ahead and buy that. We got our 13-pound line, and you can see we have our 13-pound pole. Now for the reel, we're going to go choose our reel. And before we do that, you can see under spinning reels, you can see they all require, if you go to your 810, but it won't matter because they all require the same thing. On the top left there, or top right, I will put my handy dandy arrow. You're going to want to use a spinning reel for this. The other one that is not in shaded green is a cast reel, or what I call a bait caster reel. So now that we have that, we know we got to go to spinning reels, and we're going to try to get one just slightly over 13 pounds, and I'll explain why here in a minute. Let's kind of look, and we'll just take a look at our options. So there is right around this 13 pounds. And we want to go just a hair over it. So probably these guys right here. Now, one thing when I always do when I pick a pole, I'm almost always using the fastest recovery. I have a video on the recovery. Recovery is how fast the pole reels in on when you're catching a fish. And that's very important because it'll help you reel in fish a lot quicker. But this one is 14 pounds. It's slightly more. So we're going to go ahead and use this Bremer 5000. So now we're going to go equip it. Should be in my backpack, hopefully. There it is. And now we're going to go down and equip that line that we just bought. Now, you can put the max amount on a line. I never do, because if you're fighting a fish that hard, you're wasting your time and you don't have the correct setup. So as you can see here, 13, 13, 14. Now, if I were going to use a leader for fish that have teeth, I would do one just slightly the same as the line or slightly more. So I would probably use 15 right here. And what we're going to go do now is we're going to go test this reel out, and you're going to see why we set this up the way we did. Now on the bottom right hand side, as you will see, you're going to want to turn your drag down 1. On PlayStation and Xbox, it is your arrow keys right or left on your directional pad. So the reason for that is you don't want to use max drag on your reel because it'll wear out a lot quicker. With one drag down, we're not maxing out our line or our pole, but we're getting pretty close there. And you can see nothing is wearing extremely fast because of that. And down in the bottom, you can see the percentages. Nothing's going crazy. And we're pretty close to getting the most out of our rod and line. That's kind of what you want to do. Now, you can actually take this a step farther if you're more advanced. For example, you can see that I am using 7 drags out of the possible 8 of the reel. So I'm using 7/8 of the power. 7/8 of 14 pounds, I do know is 12 1/4 pounds. So that tells you you're under your 13-pound line. That's if you want to do it more advanced. Otherwise, you can just do it how I did, where you just slightly take a slightly more powerful reel and go down 1. Also, another couple tips of advice here at the very end. When you do get a setup that you do like, just save it under your template so that you can re-equip it anytime that you want. For example, if we wanted to, we'll unequip it. You can go right here and we can click our spinning setup. I haven't named it, but you can name it and it'll just pull it right back in for you. Another helpful tip is, even though, make sure you're paying attention when you're buying your reels, because some of them will be for bait coins and you don't want to use your bait coins for something that you can get with in-game cash. Just giving you guys a heads up. As you can see, a lot of these reels right here you can get just with normal regular in-game cash. Anyway, hopefully this helps you out, and we'll see you next time, folks. Have a good one.